computer. Sometimes I record on a different computer and I have, and then I'm looking for it on the wrong computer. I actually called Zoom one time because I couldn't find it. And after we spent an hour, they say, well, are you sure you recorded it on this computer? And I said, no, it's on the other computer. He said, well, that's where it will be then. Yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming. Let's go ahead and get started. And let me share my screen. Haven't done it in a while. I'm sitting here fumbling around looking for buttons. That's funny. All right, where's my thingy here? Get back in the swing of it. So let's start with our little getting to know each other better. The book that I am using in my reference material, I keep forgetting, it's called The Great Shape Up Program. There's apparently, this person is holding webinars across the country, and people are coming and learning how to improve their health. And I've learned a lot while I'm doing it, and it was a perfect thing to share with all y'all. And one of the things they talk about is exercise. And so it made me include that in our little getting to know each other. And one of the things that he said in there that was very helpful to me is he said most people treat exercise like something they want to do, but they have to have certain conditions perfect before they actually go and do it. And he said that exercise is so important to your health, especially the older you are, because you start becoming infirmed, losing muscle and stuff like that. He said that exercise should actually be like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't go a day without brushing your teeth. And your exercise should have that same priority, regardless of how little or whatever it is. So one of the things that I have to do is write down my reasons when I'm not doing it that I tell myself. And then once you know how you avoid it, then you can avoid it. But I thought that would be a good thing to put in our little getting to know each other. So the excuse I use most often for not exercising is, and the greatest obstacle for me when I don't make the healthiest choice is, the greatest struggle in getting healthy for me is, and then our standard two, what I am most grateful for today is, and what I most want to share tonight is. And I never prepare for these, so let me go ahead and I'll start. And the excuse I use most often for not exercising is not having enough time. It's always that. There's something else that's more important, something more pressing, and exercise tends to go to the bottom of the list. The greatest obstacle for me when I don't make the healthiest choice is the availability of it. It's there. So I avail myself to it. And my greatest struggle in getting healthy is sticking with it. I'm very good at getting started, but sticking with it has been the obstacle after I lost my 70 pounds to getting back on and get where I want to. And I'm most grateful for all the great people I got to see, and the people I got to visit, and the time I got to share, and the memories I get to take home with me. And what I want most to share with you tonight is I'm coming home tomorrow.
Good.
To get back to normal. So who would like to go next?
I will. The excuse I use most often for not exercising is with the schedule and things. I used to love to walk early in the morning before anybody was out and about because they didn't stop you. You got my exercise in and enjoyed the birds waking up. And I just haven't gotten back into it. Hopefully Kelly or David will set up my wee machine at least, and maybe Dick will start walking too.
Yeah.
The obstacle for me when I don't make the healthiest choices is if it's there, I just don't have any willpower anymore, and I've got to get back on that. And that's my greatest struggle in getting healthy is willpower. Giving in. And today I am feeling better, and Dick seems to be doing a lot better, finally. And what I most want to share tonight is I'm thankful that we can all meet together and everybody is there for each other, because it's been so nice, even though I haven't been able to be on the doing my points for a couple of days. I still knew you people were still there and thinking of us.
Cool. Thank you. Who's next?
Who's here?
I'll go.
Okay.
The excuse I use most often for not exercising is ever since I fractured my toe, I can't exercise a lot on my treadmill and I miss it. The greatest obstacle when I don't make the healthiest choice is me.
I think it's buying it at the grocery store. We hear that all the time with you.
Yeah, and I'm my own worst enemy, like everybody else, and I make excuses for myself. My greatest, and I guess it's only little challenges that I fail at that trip me up, because then I feel like I'm failing. It's just a small thing that I do, but then I feel like I'm failing at what I'm doing, and it's really hard to get over that feeling that you're failing at it. Okay?
I identify.
Okay, my greatest struggle in getting healthy is, I'd have to say, loneliness.
Wow.
And I think that takes me down. What I am most grateful for today is friendships, of course. And what I most want to share tonight is I'm working on my underwater picture.
Oh.
Cool.
How far along are you?
Not much farther than I was. I just started working on it. I found out that one of the things that I learned was how to soften the color using a particular brush. And when I was downstate last week, I was able to find the brushes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that is, I'll I might get it done this year.
Well, that's all about leisure, isn't it?
Oh yeah. But
That's
it's kind of, it looks like underwater.
I can't wait to see it finished.
Sure.
I like to see her stuff when they're in process, because then you get to see what she goes through to make the final.
You want me to show you in process?
I would love to see it.
I'll go
Yeah.
get it.
Great. Jan, you want to go ahead and go while she's getting up?
Okay, I'll go.
Bella hears a dog.
The excuse I use most often for not exercising is because I'm in pain. I've gained weight, so it's harder for me to do things, and I've been in quite a bit of pain. I've been going to physical therapy, so I have been exercising,
Oh,
but
good.
it's not easy. It is not easy to do. And I have my last session on Thursday. I've been going for about 3 months now, and
Wow.
Wow, good.
and basically what they told me a week ago is that there's nothing more they can do for me. So I guess I'm going back to the doctor. But the greatest obstacle for me when I don't make the healthiest choice is I tell myself I want it, I guess. You know,
The availability. We all say the same thing. It's the availability.
Yes, they-
you know what I've done, if you could see my computer and my refrigerator in my house right now, you'd crack up, because that thing on mindful eating that we had the other day, that really stuck with me. So I put mindful eating and a little note here on my computer, and on the refrigerator and on the kitchen counter and in the pan drawer. And it does work if you stop
Yeah.
and actually enjoy the food that you do eat. It does, you're not hungry all the time because you've eaten. Too many times eating is just a side thing, and we have a tendency to eat at the table, my husband and I.
Yeah.
But you get busy with life, and it's rush here, and sit down and eat your cereal so we can get out of here, or you got a project, or he's on his way to golf, or I'm on my way to physical therapy. A million excuses. And that's what we do. We make excuses.
Okay.
So I think that's my biggest struggle. But I'm really grateful for the challenge. I don't even know where I'd be if I didn't have the challenge. I know I don't show up as much as I should and want to, but as we say, life gets in the way. But it has been very important to me, and I'm very thankful for Dorothy getting me into this. I'm thankful for Dorothy, period.
Yeah.
We've got too many years behind us, and I want to tell her I'm number 21 on the list. What I want to
face, Jan.
Oh, okay. And what I want to share tonight, I guess I really shared quite a bit tonight.
Yeah.
So. Next.
Nice.
Well, thank you. And Lisa and Dorothy both have done great teachable moments on the mindful eating.
Yeah. Yes, I have enjoyed them.
Yeah. So, Marcia, Bird Mom, you want to go?
Yeah. The greatest obstacle for me when I don't make the healthiest choice is that I didn't stop myself soon enough from doing it. And and my greatest struggle in getting healthy is, of course, the darned eating, eating the right things. And when I started the challenge, I was gung-ho and everything, and I don't know, I just kind of lost steam again, and it's no good.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate it. Lisa, glad you made it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been pretty good about exercising till the last week. And I think that's where this question came from. I was telling Mommy that I hadn't been to water aerobics in the last week. So I don't have any excuse, except for I'm very sore. So I'll get back after it. And the greatest obstacle for me when I don't make the healthiest choice is me. Who said that?
All of us.
And my greatest struggle in getting healthy is how I eat.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm pretty good about stop challenge cheese in the grocery store, and anybody that's been in my house will tell you I don't keep anything here that I shouldn't be eating, because if I do, I will eat it. So it's just that there's so many things that I don't eat, so I struggle to find the right things to eat to be as close to compliant as I can in my what I call 5 and whatever. So, but yeah, I am, and what I'm most grateful for today is, of course, all of you and support that you afford. And what I most much to share tonight is, y'all wish me luck. I'm having an outpatient procedure done on my back tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's just a standard thing I've had done before, but I'm hoping it helps me feel better.
Okay, good.
Okay,
That's
we're praying.
All right. That's everybody, right? Nobody snuck in on me, right?
No.
Okay. So I had to get caught up today on what was going on, because what I've done is to get the points, but I haven't really been paying attention in the health coach Facebook page that we have to guide us along this process. And I got in there today and I contacted Aaron and asked him what was going on. And this was what came back. Due to numerous requests from challengers who want to continue their journey headed into the holidays, we have created a 4-week challenge that starts October 18th. So this one ends October 15th, and a 4-week one starting 3 days later. And, and they're going to, instead of doing scholarships and gifts and things like that, they're going to take the 25% they used for different incentives, and they're going to put it in the pool. So if you weigh in and you meet your goal, then it's going to be a 75% pot that pays out as opposed to a 50%.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not going to be any surveys. They're having new material, and I think that's it. They're going to do the next challenge in November. I went ahead and got a room. They're not actually having teams. They're allowing people to just work from the wall. And that's why I contacted Erin. I said, are we going to be able to have our team? Because that matters. I figured that would matter to everyone. And they said, yeah, if you want to have a team, that's fine. But there's some coaches that really want to break right now. And the way they're doing it is just allow them to come in and do their points and communicate on the wall without a coach. But I went ahead and signed up today. I'll be posting the link in Huddle Up and in our team room for the October 18th. And I told Erin, I said, when we were talking about coaches wanting a break, I told him I love the accountability of the challenge. I mean, I like getting up in the morning, and I said, and my team likes getting up in the morning. Then he wanted to talk about ideas that he had, and we went back and forth. He's wanting to do. He's talking about doing it free, where people can sign up for free for 10 days, and he wanted to have input on that. And I told him that I have paid for people to come into the challenge, hoping that once they got there, they would like it. But then they don't really show back up. I've told Dorothy and Lisa and Marcia, they were wanting to pay for people with them. And I said, there's just no reason for people to come in and get their points and stuff, because they got nothing invested in the process. It's something that I talked people into. I really feel like I did them a disservice by doing it free and them not having that desire to be there in the first place. So I did share that with him. I told him, if you're going to do that, at least do a promo code, and don't just make it where people can come in and do 10 days free and get in and out like that. Don't make it a revolving door. Make it where there's a limited time when they can sign up and get in, so they can understand the importance of being in there and staying accountable through these little things that we do. The next thing is that they asked me about doing a step contest. And my feeling on that was that everyone doesn't have a Fitbit. Everyone doesn't, everybody's not physically able. I thought about Carol Alderman when this came up, because she was always looking for something that she could do in her limited ability. And I felt like this is something that would exclude people who weren't able to actually get up and walk and do things. But that was my feedback on that. I'll let you guys feedback to me if you have feedback on either one of those, about them offering it for free for people for 10 days and the steps. Any input there that I can pass on to Erin?
I concur with your input. I do. Except for, and I agree with you on the step contest, but there are contests in there that are optional, like the photo contests. Those are optional. So maybe, if it was just like a side contest, but not like front and center.
We talked that through, because optional contests have points with them. And again, if you've got somebody who's physically not able or don't have a Fitbit, they're miss points. And it's, to me, I think it would create a negative experience for them, because people do back and points.
I agree. I agree.
And Connie, you know I agree with you on the free time in, because you know I did it for several people and they have never come back into another challenge.
Oh, wow.
I did it for my daughter, but
Yeah,
that
she does.
but I don't count her, but I did it for several other people and they have never rejoined challenge
We
since
couldn't
then.
get it. We couldn't get them motivated. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be steps? Why can't it be minutes doing anything? I mean, people who sit in a chair could stretch their arms out. I mean, they could explain different things for them to do that would be an activity that, and they could get credit for minutes doing whatever.
Yeah,
And that would be stimulating them to do something
I like that. I'll pass that on.
rather than steps.
You know, I know that their thought is, you know, with the Fitbit, people get in groups and they can see what somebody else is doing in it and motivates them. So there's trackability there with a Fitbit, but why not let people be on their honor? I think that would be a really good, that's a great idea. I'll pass that on.
Even if it's somebody that's sitting there with 2 cans of
Yeah,
vegetables from their cupboard and they're able to do lifting with it, or just lifting their legs up and down.
Yeah.
I mean, they could tell them things that they could do if they're limited.
okay.
It doesn't have to be, you know, something real strenuous.
Yeah. Jan and Marcia, do you guys have any input on that? Because they're not looking at coaches, they're looking at participants in terms of how they feel about it.
I agree with you 100% on paying for someone to join, because I thought about that with my sisters. I've been trying to motivate them, and but I agree with what you said. You know, if they don't pay for it, they don't have the motivation. It's, you know, they're accountable to themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to instill in them, is that this whole program is not about, you know, you have to do so many points or anything. It's keeping you accountable to yourself. And that's what helps. And that's what works when you're accountable to yourself.
Oh yeah, and it has to be that way for it to be permanent, the change to be permanent. You're absolutely correct. Marcia, did you want to contribute?
No, I agree with that. Nobody should really get paid, have a free pass to do that at all.
Okay. So, anyone know what the brain lives off of? Your brain uses sugar as its main source of fuel. That is a fact. And I didn't know that. Gay did not know that when I was talking to Gay, because we talk about I moved out because I couldn't see the screen. You know what the 3 macronutrients are: the carbohydrates, the fats, and the proteins. And your brain uses sugar as its main source of fuel, and it cannot be without it. Let's see where we're at here. So when everybody can identify with like Thanksgiving, and if you know, in a past Zoom we talked about I think we had a granola and strawberries and stuff, and the point in that picture was about not having a protein there to balance that. That was like eating a cup of sugar, even though it looked healthy. And the example that was made in the book is that Thanksgiving Day, people have this propensity to not eat much, so at dinner time they'll be able to enjoy all the food that's made available to them. And they sit down at the table and they start eating, and then very shortly they're very full. And I said, yeah, that's true. I can relate to that. And he said, well, look what's on your menu. You have the candied yams, you have the sweet potatoes, you have the mashed potatoes, you have the bread, you have the pies, you know, the turkey and the ham, some protein that's in there. Said, but what happens is that sugar goes instantly to your brain. And that's what it feeds on. And that's why that happens at Thanksgiving dinner, that you get full so quick because there's so much sugar that's in that meal. So what happens in the bloodstream? So what is happening is you are eating all of those simple sugars. The body is converting the sugar instantly. It's hitting the bloodstream, and then it is hitting the brain fast. What's the brain say? Sugar, I'm full. And you go, I can't eat another bite. You excuse yourself from the table and you go watch a little TV. Half an hour passes and someone says, could you go for a piece of pie? You think? I could go for a little pie. It's only a half an hour later and you're ready to eat pie. 25 minutes ago, you were stuffed. Why? What we need to know is what goes up fast comes down fast. You're crashing because the sugar filled up the brain fast, and the brain said, I'm full. The sugar drops through the floor. And what does your brain say? Send me sugar. So, yeah. So Dorothy and Marsha, I hear y'all talk about this. Can you explain it from like personal experience?
I couldn't explain it that way as far as the brain is concerned, but it will make your blood sugar level go up and down in your blood. And as soon as it goes down, you're hungry again.
And that's what they talk about crashing, right?
Yes.
It would go down below the normal. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is what has happened with you, Marsha, right?
Oh, especially recently because I have been, especially the last 5 days, but several times because I have been back on actually I've been doing the 4 and 2. 5 and 1 I can't do because I do have a big problem with that. And it does, when it crashes, and I learned, oh my gosh, I don't know, probably about 15, 20 years ago, that when people will take and drink the orange juice to bring it back up, but they forget they need to, within 15 minutes after that, eat something protein. And a lot of people don't realize that, because if you don't, it's going to go way up again, and then it's going to drop again.
Yeah.
And you have that protein to work with the sugar. And I didn't realize that until my mom crashed one time.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked to the doctor and he asked me what protein I gave her afterwards, I said, well, I didn't. And that was a long time ago.
One time my husband's sugar dropped real bad. And he was on insulin. And it was down so low, we had already eaten, but it was just regulating the insulin, learning to regulate the insulin. And so it went down real low. And so I called the hospital and they said, well, you can give him orange juice to bring it up. You can bring him in here and we'll give him something to bring it up. He said, otherwise he has to eat. So I made him eat another dinner.
But they're really talking about this, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just had not heard it explained that way. No. And it says, why is this? There we go. Have you eaten a healthy salad with grilled chicken, and when you finished, you go, boy, I could go for something else? You know what your brain is saying?
Send me the sugar.
People wonder why we want to eat sweets after dinner. That's it.
Wow.
Now, the minute you ignore that feeling and you say, I'm not going to have that sweet, here is the kicker. Guess what your brain says? Lisa, you want to read that?
I'm going to go ahead and dip into my fat storage and get my sugar from there because you have been storing some sugar there. Some are storing more sugar there than others. Your brain dips in and starts taking from fat storage. Ignore the feeling.
Good. You can actually see it. So ignoring the feeling, I think we were all talking about this earlier. Ignoring the feeling is not that easy. But it is good to know that when it doesn't get the sugar from you, that's where we get the weight loss, is because it's going to go to our never-ending fat storage and get it from there.
Okay, but I have an important question.
Okay.
We have ghrelin and we have leptin. I want to know, where is the macronutrient figure?
Okay, the macronutrient is your
No, I'm talking about the guy. You have the ghrelin, you have the leptin. I want to know where the macronutrient guy is.
Oh, you want to now you want one for fat, protein, and okay, I will get that. Okay. So
You gotta make her do it, Patty.
so if you are used to eating high glycemic foods, then change to low glycemic foods. So the high glycemic foods release energy quickly, you feel hunger sooner, and you eat more. So not everybody uses our program, but everyone has this same experience. And what I love about what I'm learning is how much it is like our program. I can see how our program was scientifically formulated. I can see why it works, because it does move us from the high glycemic index to the low glycemic index. There are foods that are eliminated from our program when you're doing the rapid weight loss, and they're high glycemic foods, not because they're unhealthy, because it's carrots. What's more healthy than carrots? So edamames, onions. But during the 5-in-1 rapid weight loss program, they are too high glycemic for that. And so what we do is we incorporate those back into your program when you go to transition out. But we don't call it transition out anymore. What is it we call it, Dorothy? Do you remember?
No.
Because they don't really want people thinking about transitioning and then putting the weight back on. They want people transformation. We do transformation now. We transform back to healthy eating and add in those foods that are healthy for us. All right, so that's where we're at there. You need carbs to fuel the muscle, to be able to think, and to build muscle. You need fiber. There are only 2 ways to remove toxicities. You potty it out or you sweat it out.
I like that.
It's true.
I like that.
Yeah, it's nice to know how it works, so you can have a say in what you do. Whether you make good or bad choices, it's never going to be perfect. But at least when you're doing something, you know the impact it's having.
That's going to stick with me.
Exactly. Eat more, not less. That was a big one for me, because when I weighed that 249 pounds, Tony would always say, if you ate less, you would die. Because I didn't eat that much. I wouldn't eat that much, and then I would binge. But you do have to eat. Did that surprise anybody else when we started this, is that you have to eat to lose weight? Did everybody know that before?
The fact that you have to eat 6 times a day, I didn't know that. I didn't know that our body would then say store it if we didn't eat. It would say I'm starving, and so store the fat. I did not know that.
Yeah, that was.
I knew that. I knew about if you don't eat, then your body stores fat and you lose muscle. But I didn't know about the eating more frequently. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, when I'm talking to people, that's one thing I do mention. If you take what you're eating now and spread it into 6 meals a day rather than 3, you'll see a result. And interestingly, they do. If somebody's that's not ready to commit. But when I make that point, it sounds they get it. Yeah. So I didn't know about the frequency, but I did know that your body does store the fat.
So a fireplace burn. I love this example. A fireplace burns hot and fast when wood is added. So does our metabolism. So does our metabolism when food is added. That is what we want: a fast burning metabolism. Let's say at 1 o'clock, and we have It's 1 o'clock and we have a nice, healthy, well-balanced meal. Metabolism starts burning hot and fast. Now at 2 o'clock, the digestive process is pretty much over, but your metabolism is still burning high. What is it burning for a fuel source? Fat storage, because there is no more food coming in. The flame will continue burning up to 3 hours after eating. Even while you are sitting, you are burning fat. There is our program. it's common throughout good eating and healthy habits. Now, what if you go 4, 5, or 6 hours without eating?
In your brain.
Let's go back to the fireplace analogy.
Yeah.
The flame is gone. It's no longer burning fast and hot. What happens when you add wood?
It goes back to
Ah.
flaming.
So just simple information. It's for you to know how to have your body work for you. That is why we eat every 3 hours to rev up our metabolism. Have some residual fat burning, and when your metabolism starts coming back down to normal, you can chuck more food in there and start the process all over again. What you laughing, Marsh?
I said I like that. You can chuck more food in.
Okay. It's not about eating less. It's about eating more of the right things. So, anybody want to talk about that? My dog won't quit barking. See, Bella? Say hi.
Aww.
Aw. She's been a good girl on this trip. Right now, she wants to bark, so I'm holding her. So for me, when I was learning this, I really enjoyed finding out why the every 3 hours was important. I enjoyed finding out about the residual burning when you're eating that every 3 hours. I mean, I'll have people tell me, I messed up the program today. And I'll expect that you might have experienced this too, Dorothy and Marcia, but I'll have them say, yes, I forgot my meal. I went out and I didn't have my meal with me. And that really is messing up. I always look at it that as a good thing, because I thought they were getting ready to tell me they had something they weren't supposed to have.
Mhm.
But all of the parts of the program work hand in hand with each other. And it's only being confirmed through the learning that we're doing from other sources of how important these little things are. I believe that the social side of our program is the most important part of the program. We have the community. We have the Habits of Health, which is a new edition will be coming out soon. And we have the food for fuel. And what's the other one? It's the fuel, the
Community,
the fuelings, the coach, the health coach. And the Habits of Health. I forgot the health coach. Yeah.
Call your coach.
Yeah, that's what they did at convention. That was fun. Call your coach. And all of them are really important. But when you hear people's success stories, you will hear how each one of those things were the difference for them. When I got on the program, I called Gay, and I had no intentions of going back and forth with her. I just wanted the program, and I wanted to do it. I saw my sister do it. I knew I could do it. But literally very shortly, because Gay is very good about communicating back and forth, I would sit there and wait to hear her, for her to respond to what I was saying to her. And the health coach is important. But I think what has helped the most people that I can see is that having that community, that people that care. It's what's happening here in the challenge, and we talk about it all the time. So if I was going to put level of importance, I would put community, and I'm going to ask the other coaches in here to tell me how they feel about it. I thought about this today. I would put community as a driving force. I would put the habits of, maybe the health coach second, the habits of health third, and our fuelings fourth, which just goes to show you, if you just start eating better and following the rules that apply, anyone can get healthier. How would you rate those 4 things, Dorothy?
Well, as a challenge, I would say community is going to be up there at the top. But in the context of our training, the coach is above that, because the coach is the one who's really walking side by side, hand in hand with them. So the community then becomes other coaches, our upline, the doctors, the nutrition support, that becomes the community. But as far as the challenge is concerned, the community is first here in this
Oh, I
environment.
got your point. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Martha?
I think the support, because so many diet quote programs fail because they don't have the support. And it's hard to say whether the coach or the community support.
Well, it's all important.
Both of them are really very, very important. So it would be like 1A and 1B or something like that.
Mhm.
And then you know, and definitely feeling is last, because if you do the habits of health, you learn so much and you just start applying them, and it has made such a difference. I mean, I knew a lot of them from nursing and from my parents being diabetics, but when you started studying them, it really hits home. And there's little things that all of a sudden you forgot that you knew. You know, it's back there, but somebody needs to jog it. So
I know the habits of health. I did read them when I was on the program, but I can't say that they impacted me the way they did when I become a coach. When I become a coach, I really studied that book and learned it. But actually using it as a guide when I was on the program, I just used it for information. I didn't use it to the fullest extent I should have.
that's what I did at first too.
Yeah, I think so. If a person
I
ever-
would love the chapter.
But
Yeah.
I was here by myself. So for
Mhm.
me, the book was my guide.
Mhm.
I mean, Connie worked with me, but on my time away from Connie, the book was my guide.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so much to learn. It's like,
And when the new book comes out, and you know, and I think it's common that when you don't become a coach, you stay the client, that maybe that habits of health gets overlooked, the importance of it. But the habits of health doesn't actually require you to do the 5-in-1 program or the 4-in-2 program. It teaches you how to have a healthy life. Without it, I mean, it's just you don't have to use our food to become healthy. You can use any program even to lose weight.
I
But-
think the habits of health explains the why.
Exactly.
It
And I
Like that.
Yeah, and they're going to come out with the new revised edition, and they're also going to come out with an app. So that's going to be really cool to turn people on to as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lisa. Your order.
so sweet.
Your order of coach, community, habits of health, and fuelings.
I would have to concur. I like the support, the community, and I was listening when you said whatever you said. I agreed, so I didn't need to change that. But I do need to confess that I really need to get into that habits of health, because I have carried that book around, intending to read it when I'm, in waiting positions, and I still have yet to make it past chapter 1. So that needs to be a priority for me.
I liked what Dorothy said, because in the challenge, community is what that's about. In the program, the 5-in-1, the 4-in-2, whichever, the diabetic, the nursing, whatever program somebody goes on, the community for us that Dorothy was talking about was the doctor's calls, the nurses' calls, the habits of health calls, the leadership calls. So all of that community, but all that community that's available to us as coaches, with the exception of the leadership call, is available to a client as well. So community is there for the clients, but that's another thing that clients overlook. They don't know they can write to nutrition support and have them. Nutrition support is like an ace in the hole, man. I'm telling you, you can call.
No, my people that I have, they all know that there is nutrition support available, even to change a recipe.
Exactly.
Have a question about a recipe. Yeah.
Yeah. So really cool.
Did you listen to the Habits of Health the other night?
I did not. I
Okay.
need to post that. I've got to catch up on everything when I get home.
Did you know that at Las Vegas, the woman whose husband was walking behind her, who was a nurse, it was an Optavia coach.
Oh, no, I did not.
Where did, oh, it was on there and he passed away? Say again?
He saved her life.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Dr. Anderson brought it up. We had a moment of silence, and it is on the Optavia Facebook page, and it shows a picture of Heather and her husband. I think his name was Sonny. I'm not sure, but yeah, they were.
I didn't know that. Wow.
They were interviewed on TV too. My mom said she saw them on TV.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Dorothy, for bringing that up. I'll put it in our next post.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
This is our video.
Okay.
Can't see it.
Do you want
Oh,
to
you can't
report?
see it? Thank you. Maybe I haven't shared my screen. That would help.
And
It takes a village. It takes a village.
do you want to stop recording?
Huh? It's not our lesson. I've got a new video with
Right.
yeah. It's success stories. Remember how we used to do success
Okay. All
stories?
right. Yep. Uh-huh.
This is a 2017, and they put the stories in writing. I'll take this back, and we'll get started. You can see it?
Yes.
Wow.
My goodness.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
And that is why we do what we do.
That's funny.
It's inspiring.
Yeah, it is. It's so inspiring.
You know, Connie, I think, like, looking at that, so many people out there are so happy. Some of us would say, I don't think I could ever do this. I don't think I could ever lose it. And I wish we'd had more of them when we were first starting with people, because what an inspiration to know that, I mean, somebody who weighed 400 pounds and could lose it, and somebody who needs to, weigh 250 pounds, who say, I can't do it.
Well, you remember the girl that was sitting in front of us at
The first convention, wasn't it the first one I went to?
that you went to, yeah.
First one I had ever gone to. She sat in front of us.
I had been telling them at our meetings there at the Cove about this woman that, because I'd only been to one before Marcia, and this lady had lost 300 pounds already, and she was walking around with a picture that said, this looks like a before picture, but it's an after. And I didn't see her at the last convention. I always looked for her. I'm sure she was there, but there was too many people. But now that they have made that shift from losing weight to getting healthy, it's just it's a totally different conversation. It's a totally different conversation. And my whole hope and what we share together is that as we know more, we do different, I know it's impacting me. I'm far from perfect, but each thing, I mean, once I did that little thing on the 2 gas tanks and the big gas tank, when I'm eating now, I think about those 2 little gas tanks. So it does leave impressions on me. So do you want to do a happiness moment?
Sure.
Yeah? I've stopped recording.